right? So before we get started, though, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect this message. Amen. And so thank you for being on. We appreciate it. Commitment is currency, is what we're talking about. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. All praises to the Most High for each and every one of you who are joining us on this rising. All praises to the Most High for my family, our friends, those who are going to dispute everything that we say today, those who are going to have ears to hear, those of you who will hear what we're saying right now, maybe not agree with a single thing we have to say, and then at some point later on in life say, okay, maybe there's some wisdom in what is being said. We appreciate you all. We're thankful and grateful for everybody. I see you, big brother Thomas. Shalom to you. Peace be upon everybody. Ma shalom cha. And may this be something that blesses you. So I want to talk about commitment. Let's go on ahead and get into this. Commitment is currency. Commitment is currency. And if your dream, right, or if what you want to happen, right, let's just say, let's just call it your dream, your vision, right? If your dream or vision is what you are, is basically the goal, right? Then commitment is the currency to get you there, right? Because your dream or vision, it comes with something. Your dream or vision is coming with bills, right? There's a bill that has to be paid when you're talking about your dream or your vision, right? How you doing? When you talking about your dream or your vision, there's something that's got to be paid, right? Not even freedom is free. Something had to be given in order for you to be free, correct? So your dream, right? Your dream or your vision, there's a payment due, right? When it comes to your dream or your vision, there's a payment due. Something is due, right? And as Riley said on the Doom Boondocks, for those of you who are familiar with that show, you got to pay what you owe, right? And so the bill that comes with if you want a dream or vision, what's due, right? If you're going to reach it, or if you want to, right, is what? Commitment. Commitment. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not worried about my hair looking like how you want me to have it look like. So thank you, appreciate it. So commitment is there, right? Commitment is necessary. Right, the same commitment that somebody saying I got to put towards making sure my hair looks like they want me to look like. Commitment is necessary. Okay, it is the bill that's required. Right, it is the bill that's required to get to your dream or vision. Right, so if your commitment is your currency. The thing that's lacking for a lot of people is not the ability. It's not the will to do it, as we're going to talk about in a little bit. But what's lacking for a lot of people is they don't want to pay the bill. Right? And sometimes it's because when you're sitting up here and you're talking about all these things, people have so many different bills, right? If you notice, I said bills, but then I just made it singular, because a lot of us have bills, right? A lot of us have bills. We're all over the place, right? So we got bills over here, we got bills over there, right? I've got to pay, and these are things that are noble, right? Some of these are noble, but I've got to pay the family bill, right? Right? I've got to pay self bills, right? I got to maintain myself. Very important, right? However, we start getting into some other things that start getting a little tricky. Well, I've got to pay the job bill. And like we talked about, we want you to become a person that becomes unemployable. If you're going to reach certain dreams or visions that are in your head, you can't be working for somebody 9 to 5 all day, every day, right? Some people get into, I've got to pay the sleep bill, which is important. That's part of self-care. However, a lot of these people that you know of, that you follow, even the Beyoncés and people like that, guess what? They don't sleep as much as you sleep. They make way more than you do. You would think somebody else can get paid to take care of their vision for you, and a lot of people have to be on the payroll because their vision is so much bigger than themselves that they had to be able to have certain things financially come to take care of it. But it's still their vision. It's still their dream. It's still their goal. Right? So you start going to all these different things, but what starts happening, let's be honest, some of this stuff starts turning into, some of our bills is watching TV. I got to watch this show. I got to watch that show, right? It's not bills that you can't pay. It's the commitment to paying the bills that you need to pay, and which ones are you more committed to. Some of our bills, right? And I'm not saying that social media is evil, obviously, because I'm using it. However, how much time you spending on social media, right? Are you somebody that can say that you like? And I'm not even joking here. I know people, like I have friends, family that straight up, I guarantee you, they're spending 3, 4, 5 hours on social media a day, right? Not adding to it, not putting out a video, not trying to do things on there that will get them paid, not trying to start their own channel. I'm talking about just going and watching stuff like, going down rabbit holes of things like pimple popping, right? Videos like that. Like how much are you paying, right, to get to your dream and vision, right? How can you even focus on this bill and being committed if you're committed to all these different bills, right? Some people are committed to bills like, and I used to be one of these people, so I'm not even gonna put on the front, right? Where I was super committed to porn. There's a lot of people out there spending hours and hours and hours and hours a day committed to that, right? When does your dream and vision come into place? I didn't say even educational videos, but hey, if you're spending 4 or 5 hours a day only on educating yourself, and then you're using them, right? You're not just watching them to watch them, but you're watching them to use them, and you're utilizing them to be able to get to a greater level for your family and for generations, and so be it. But let's be honest, a lot of people aren't on social media 4 or 5, 6 hours only watching National Geographic, and even then watching that, how is that helping you with your dream or vision? Right? That would be my question. A lot of people watch Miles Monroe. Great thing to watch. How much of Miles Monroe's teaching are you using? Right? So when we're speaking on these things, like, it's real easy to try and find ways out of it. I'm telling you, if you're talking about your dream or your vision, commitment is the currency that's going to get you there. You've got to pay commitment. You got to pay what you owe, like Riley said out the Boondocks. You got to pay what you owe. You can talk all the stuff that you want about it, all the smack, but are you paying what's owed? Are you committed? Right? Oh, I got to get up at 6 a.m. to be able to make sure I make muster, or make sure I make work, or do this or do that. Okay, fine. Are you willing to get up at 4 a.m. to be prayed up, to make sure that you've had time to be able to meditate, to make sure that you've established a blueprint for your day, and to start doing things to make sure that you can get to your day? If you're going to be speaking in the morning, have you gotten up, made sure that you had your water, make sure that you had your stuff to drink? If you're going to be running, or if you're going to be doing something where you have to go to a job and you got to do stuff in the warehouse, have you gotten up and made sure that you were stressed and got all that stuff out the way early so that you can start working on what the business plan is going in the future, right? You got a dream or a vision. Are you willing to pay what you owe? And I'm not saying all of these are bad things, but at the end of the day, something's got to give. Something's got to give, right? You gotta pay what you owe to your family. You have to. You gotta pay what you owe to yourself, right? Hopefully you start getting to a place where you don't have to worry about paying what you owe to somebody in a job. But you might have to do that for right now, right? You gotta somewhat pay what you owe to sleep. Your body can't be without sleep, right? And these aren't all necessarily even bad things. There's a few things that we listed. We can keep on going and going and going, right? Some of you guys are putting more into fashion than you do, right? We can keep on going. Some of us are putting a lot of stuff into fast food, right? Committed every day. I got to go to that same fast food joint, and I got to spend $10 to $20 every day to make sure that I get this fixed, right? Trying to figure out why at the end of the week I'm missing $140 easy, right? Can't tell you where it's going, but if I were to just pay attention, what am I doing? What am I paying attention to? What am I dedicated to, right? Some people are dedicated to exercise, and that's great. Once again, self-care. But are you dedicated to exercise because it's something that actually helps you in your career? Or are you dedicated to exercise because you just want to say, hey, I got veins popping out? Meanwhile, though, your gift is cooking. Not even cooking anything, but you got veins popping out. You spending 4 or 5 hours at the gym a day, but you haven't spent 30 minutes cooking because you're like, well, it just comes naturally. What if you practice the dream and vision and committed to it, to where you put, maybe even balance it out, put 3 hours into the kitchen, put 3 hours at the gym. Next thing you know, you're going to get people who say, man, I need some of what you have, and are willing to sow into you, as we talked about yesterday. They'll look for you. They're going to brand you. Your name brand changes because of what? Your commitment level, right? You said career isn't everything. I didn't say career was everything. I said your dream or your vision. Your dream or your vision is your work. You talking about careers is what people do for jobs, right? Like speaking, doing things like that, that's not a career for me. Somebody says, well, yes, it's a career, because I'm not in a corporation. This is not my career. This is who I am. I do this after we finish and this gets turned off, I do this anyways. Right? If somebody wants to take the classes that we do, they literally, people who take classes with this, they know we will do the live session 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time, go right into class. And if people want to keep going past 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time, I will stay there and answer questions. I will then turn around, make sure I sew into my wife and stuff before I go to sleep. Wake up the next morning, make sure I sew into her, telling her how much I love her and everything. Get into my morning routine, make sure that I'm studied up and prayed up, talk to people on the phone before we do the live, and then come before you guys do the live and start the day to make sure that I go into the community, traveling to different places all over again. It's the commitment that fulfills the dream or vision. That's the currency that's going to be necessary. A lot of people's problem is not the dream or vision. You got a great dream or vision. Some of us don't know the dream or vision, so we got to start there. But the dream or vision for a lot of people is not even the problem. It's, are you willing to pay what you owe? We have all the stuff we're paying to everything else. You got to start asking yourself how much goes here. Because if the dream or vision is fulfilled, what I've learned, what I've discovered, right, as much as people want to talk stuff or whatever, what am I currently studying? I'm currently studying many things, right? But the dream or vision, right, that I've realized that once the dream or vision is established, this is what happens. The dream or vision gets established, and it starts to take care of the family. When the dream or vision and the commitment level is there, it takes care of self. When the dream or vision is established, I don't even worry about a job. Right? When the dream or vision is established, I don't worry that much about sleep. I get what I need, and when I don't need, I'm already energized to get. When the dream or vision is established, I don't have time for TV. I only use social media what it's supposed to be used for. I definitely don't have time to be able to be stepping out on my wife physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, etc. I'm not worried about what people think about my fashion, what my fashion choices, what my clothing is. I wear what my people say wear. I do what my culture says do. I don't have time to worry about this. Matter of fact, I can just go outside and get food that's faster. I can get food that I grow rather than worry about going to somebody else's restaurant. And I exercise for what's necessary for the dream or vision. This commitment to this has allowed me to take care of these things. Shalom, Sister Dashima. I see you joining us. Thank you. Right? And for all of you joining us, we're on every day, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. We're on 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern New York time. We're on every rising at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time. So commitment is currency. Commitment is currency. And the thing that's messing a lot of people up is not, you don't have a great heart. No, it's not that you're not a great person. It's about your commitment level. Are you committed to excellence? No matter what. Are you committed? Do you have the drive? Right? Well, actually, not even the drive. The drive is something that's great, but if you're not committed, the drive never even has an opportunity to show up. Right? So you got to be committed. I'm all over the place, usually up and down the East Coast. All right? So committed. Where are you committed? What are you committed to? Right? When people say the drive, the passion, there's things you're already passionate about. Like when we talk about the word motivation, people who've been around us and have been on a couple different conferences and that we did this year, you've heard me already talk about this, right? When we had the book 21 Days of Motivation, I explained in the book that motivation, understand that a TION on any word, right, means that it's a noun. That means it's a person, a place, or thing. So if somebody's talking about salvation, that means the place you've arrived at because you've been salvaged, right? If you're talking about elation, it's the place you've arrived at because of what elates you, et cetera, right? Well, motivation is simply saying that you're already motivated, and what motivates you got you to a place, a person, and thing that you've arrived at. So whenever the place is that you've arrived at, you got to start asking yourself, what motivated me? What are the things in my life that I'm, passionate about, or that I'm committed to that caused me to be here? So if I go to a motivational place or a motivational seminar, or I'm doing motivational speaking, if people come to our motivational seminars, whatever, I'm not worried about motivating you. You're already motivated. What I need to see is where have you arrived, and then we need to start taking note and saying if where you arrived at is due to great things that are motivating you or things that are bad that are motivating you, right? But you're already motivated. You're motivated by your friends, your family, if you want to make money, if you want to have your own business, whatever. People are motivated to do what they do. People are motivated to play video games. Why? I like them. They can be that simple as like they make me feel good. The endorphins in my brain, they pop and do all these things or whatever, right? I don't need to motivate anybody, right? Your children can motivate you, right? I don't need to motivate anybody. What I'm dealing with is where are the places, the people, whoever you become, where are the places you've arrived at, and what are the things that you do due to what motivates you? Or maybe we should change the vision as far as where you're going, what you're doing, and who you are. If what motivates you is something that's not getting you to the right place, if you want your children's children to be taken care of, right? For me, as my children's children, I figure if I take care of my great grandchildren, I'll be able to take care of my children, right? So if I'm in a place where my goal is to take care of my great grandchildren, and I'm doing things, but it doesn't seem like I can even take care of my children, I got to start asking myself a question like, I might be motivated to take care of them. They might be what motivates me. All right. So if that's what motivates me, then what's going on with what? With my commitment. What am I committed to? I'm motivated, fine. What am I committed to? Right? I'm motivated to something that's powerful, but what am I committed to? Right? Well, I see that too. Yeah, nobody can really motivate anybody else. Sometimes you can, but that's not my goal in motivation. If you're talking about motivation, it's a person, place, or thing you've arrived at due to what already motivates you. So I'm not trying to worry about what motivates people unless they're in extreme situations. There are some people that I deal with that are in extreme situations, like almost taking their life type situations, where we got to figure out something, right? We got to rub everything together and say clear. We got to get that EKG a reading going, right? We have to make sure that we have that. Wow, what am I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it. And you teach first aid, first aid kit, and then you got the other thing in that you put one right here, you put one right here. Why am I forgetting the name? Anyways, forgive me. It's one of those moments I'm having, but regardless, right? So commitment is the currency, and here's the deal, right? A lot of people defibrillator. Thank you. So a lot of people, or the AFD, yeah. So a lot of people don't have a problem with the dream or the vision. Some people actually know what it is they're supposed to do that nobody else on the planet can do, right? Yet they have an issue with this, which is commitment. And here's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about either. A lot of people talk about skill, and you develop skill. However, something that you have not made sure that you developed is will. Right? There's a lot of people walking around with this, but man, there's not a lot of people walking around with this, especially what's necessary and needed. I'm glad that you're seeing it. I'm glad that you needed to see it and that you're getting it, right? And we'll have this on the YouTube channel too for later on, so it'll be loaded up later on for those of you who would like to go deeper into this, right? But man, a lot of people developing this right here, but man, they don't have enough of this, right? A lot of people talking about this, but man, they don't have enough of this. Can I define skill versus will? Okay, sure, Minister Tamer. So skill. A lot of people have ability. So, okay, people will say, I have a skill. So I'll say, what are your skills? They'll say, oh, well, my skill is, teaching. No, that's not a skill. That's what you do. Now, with teaching comes skills, right? So if I'm a teacher, that means that, so for me, as a teacher, I must be somebody who is I must be somebody who's great as far as study techniques. Those are skills that I have to pick up. As a teacher, I need to be able to have some type of apologetic skill, right? So I must be able to defend that which I believe, which means that breaks down into further skills, right? So now I need to make sure that I have the ability, the skill of being able to help you out and do something as far as homiletics. Homiletics is something that you develop as far as, can I paint a picture with words that allows you, even if you were to close your eyes, or even if you couldn't see me right now, like even people who listen to the podcast, can you hear what I'm saying and do certain things, right? Skill are the things that we develop to be able to make sure that what we're called to do is great, right? So as a teacher, I must have a skill, even though my skill is not great, right? And it used to be way worse, but you see even that I have a skill, okay, I'm not a great writer, but I'm skilled enough to where you can comprehend what I'm writing, right? It's not, even though it's not great, but it's not so messy that you can't comprehend it. I don't have great handwriting, but my handwriting is accomplished enough that you'll be able to get everything that you need out of what I'm writing, right? I have to be skilled in certain areas. I have to be skilled enough at being able to hear, right? So I have to have listening skills, right? Do I know how, as a teacher, do I know love languages? Some people, their love language is words of affirmation. Some people's love language is acts of service. Some people's love language is gifts. Some people's love language is quality time. Some people's love language is what's the last one? Physical touch. So if I'm teaching somebody and they're having a hard time, if their love language is physical touch, if I'm teaching you and I got you at the board and you're shaking and stuff, one of the best things I could do before I say, oh, you're doing a good job, this and that, is just touch you on your shoulder and say, hey, it's going to be all right. Are you okay? Would you like to continue? And the physical touch is more reassuring than me just speaking by itself. There's some people to where they need acts of service. So if they're having a tough time or whatever, me getting up on the board and just saying, and just doing it with them and saying, hey, well, what do you think the answer is? And they tell me the answer and I write it for them. And then next time when they get up, they go, man, this person showed love towards me. Maybe I'll try to be better, right? Those are skills that are developed, right? That's fine. The will is your drive. Right? Not just your drive, excuse me. Your will is your will to do it. So I would say it like this, right? So a lot of people are developing the skills, which is great. Develop your skills. You need your skills within your gift. Don't have a gift and you never develop skills to go with your gift. That's great. Here's what I would say, the will. When somebody says, what is your will, right? Will is, there's a scripture that goes like this, but people always mess it up because they don't comprehend context, right? So this is the day, and the word day in Hebrew culture means the period of time, right? So right now, this is the day, this is the period of time that Adon, or we would say the Lord, the owner of all, of universal law and natural law and all these different laws of attraction and different things that we go by, right? This is the day that Adon, the Lord, has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice. This is the day that the Lord has made. What's the next part? I will rejoice. I will rejoice. So before I can even get to the skill, have I decided, right? Have I committed myself not just to doing skill, but have I committed myself to the will? I have free will that I will rejoice and be what? Glad in it. What is the it? The period of time. So before I can get to the period of time where my skill even shows up, I will rejoice is crucial, right? Right? You said Oprah says willpower is simply having the willingness to do. Okay, you can go with that, right? But I will, as a result of what? My will. That's what it's saying. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will, as a result of my will, I will rejoice. What's that word rejoice mean? To rejoice means to repetitively rejoice, to jump. A lot of people don't know Joyce is talking about jumping. So you're talking about spiritual leaping, or you're talking about emotional leaping, or a mental joy, right? Which is not an emotional thing, really. Joy is a state of being, right? Some people want to be happy, some people want to be sad. It says, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice. As a result of my will, I will repetitively leap, right? Whenever it comes time, I will leap at the opportunity to be myself. I will leap at the opportunity to do great things. I will leap at the opportunity to study where others will not study. I will leap at the opportunity to take care of my family. I will leap at the opportunity to be able to do what I do that nobody else on the planet can do, right? I will rejoice, right? I will. Right? And it can get you through tough times. Yes, like I will. As a result of my will, I will re-jump. I will jump. I will leap to what? Doing things that will develop the skills. The skills come after the will. A lot of people have phenomenal skill and have no will. So you can do all these great things. You've gone to school, you've gotten your degrees, got more degrees than a thermometer, right? And then you run into somebody and that person is right in front of you. That person will go to great lengths to do whatever it takes to win. You will not. And so, it's like and I'm sorry to take it to sports. I do that somewhat often because I used to play sports a lot, so it's kind of something that's helped me to develop a mindset. When I'm playing, and I really don't play anymore that often, but when I used to play basketball and stuff, or football, or when you do boxing, whatever it is, right? Kung Fu, etc. When you're doing certain things and you start having competition, I'm not usually the guy that's going to talk trash, right? I usually not going to talk trash, right? However, what happens is somebody starts talking trash. And at first, I just, I just miss it a little bit. But then when they really start talking, maybe they make one shot or something and they think that they're better than you or whatever, and they start challenging you. You either give into the stuff, or you'll usually start talking back, and you need to let them know where they really are in the pecking order, right? Because that's what sports is. At the end of the day, somebody's going to win, right? So, okay, my will shows up all of a sudden. You start talking trash, I start talking back. And at first, I let my game talk, and then as I start making a couple shots on you, I turn to you and I let you know about it, right? Or you come in the paint a couple times, I block your shot, right? And then I let you know about it. I might only do something like, hey, don't come in here no more. I don't have to say it. I don't have to yell at you, but yo, don't come in here no more. Or give you the Matumbo finger, right? Block your shot, right? Or dunk it on you and then just look at you as I'm going down the court. I don't have to say anything, right? My will showed up. You put something in me that there was a drive. There's always a drive there, even if you didn't see it yet, right? Even if you didn't see it yet, there's a drive that I have, right? And so what happened is that you assumed you were coming against somebody that had some skills. You saw me dribbling, doing this and that. So what happens with trash talking? The reason why people talk trash is they're trying their best to get you out of your game, and they figure that they have more of a will to talk trash than you have a will to be able to go against the trash talker. So they're gonna keep trying to be in your head, keep trying to tell you you ain't nothing, you can't do this, you can't dribble with this side, I'm gonna take away this side, you thought you were great, well you ain't came against me. They're gonna say all these different things. They're trying to challenge your will, right? In football, I'm 6'5.5", right? So wide receiver, just throw it up. That's all you had to do for me, right? Throw the ball in the air, I got it. They throw the ball in the air, that's a will play. When I say that, what I'm telling you is that, look, the route and everything, that's fine. We can run it in, we can run it out, we can run a flat, we can run a go, we can run a post, all those things. But guess what? If I'm telling you right now, look, this dude can't handle me, we need to win the game, throw it up. What I'm saying is, I promise you, if you make sure that the ball is in the air, this guy will not come down with it before me. I'm talking about will, not skill. Skill is the go route. Skill is the ability to do, 5-yard stutter, act like you're going this way, go outside, catch the ball before you go outside. That's skill. You got to develop those. You got to develop your feet, do all types of drills, make sure your body's limber enough and all these different things, whatever. You got to do exercises catching the ball with your left hand, your right hand, behind the back, so you can do any. Those are skills, and those are great to have because you're going to need those. But your will comes first. If you won't fight somebody for the ball, the skill doesn't matter. If somebody can come up to the line, when you see a wide receiver and a cornerback, for those of you who don't know, the quarterback has the ball all the way out on, and you have two people going against each other. You got this person who's going to try to catch the ball, that's your wide receiver. You got a person trying to stop the person from catching the ball, that's your cornerback. The cornerback's not going to let you just run. They're supposed to stop you. As soon as the play, some of them will do what's called jamming you, right? They're going to try and stop you or at least jolt you enough and see, okay, does this person have enough to fight past me? And you got to figure out how to fight past that. And what happens in a lot of people's lives is that there are people designed, or there are positions designed and people designed even, through this wicked system, right? Positions that people have to where they literally are trying to stop your will. The play hasn't even started. The business hasn't even started. You haven't even gotten to what you're supposed to be. They're already trying to tell you you're not who you're supposed to be. Haven't made it out of school. You're already not who you're supposed to be. Right? You said you and Elohim's will must be in selfish, or you will not develop. They must be one. I don't know what you mean by they must be in selfish. You must not be selfish, I guess you're saying. But yes, even in there. But once again, before you can get to his will, before we start having that conversation, you have something called free will. So, and you have the free will to either get to that or not. And there are people that are trying to tell you to not be in line with what the will of the Most High is. Right? Are you willing to develop your will? Your skill is great. Get all the skill you can. Get all the degrees that you can. Right? Get all the on-the-job training that you can. Right? Make sure that you can drive the forklift and that you can drive this and drive. Make sure you can do all that. Make sure you get in the crane. Make sure you can get paid because of all these skill levels you have. But in order to pass those classes, it's going to take some will. Will you do it? You said you've been asked, can you not be so rebellious? Yeah. So will you do it? And even in that, like, commitment is currency. Are you willing to go against the grain? Right? Amen, Dashima. Right? Are you willing to go against the grain? Everybody else says you got to do it like this. Nobody's done it like this. I've never seen anybody. Well, I'm not anybody else, so of course nobody's done it like this. Are you willing to be that? That's drive. It said free will and drive come with Yah's way. Ego comes with self. No, free will Free will is something that allows you to go away from Yah. You have the free will to be with Yah, or you have the free will to not be with Yah. Right? I get what you're saying as far as the result of you rejoicing and leaping at every opportunity to do what is for you in this period, as far as what Adon has said. That's something that's there. Right? Dare to be different, right? A lot of people don't have the will to be different. Now, you're called to be like nobody who's ever existed. Nobody has your fingerprint. I don't care if you're a twin, triplet, octuplet, whatever, right? Nobody has your fingerprint. Nobody has your exact blood. Nobody has your exact face. Nobody has your exact skull. Nobody has your exact personality, etc., right? Nobody has those things, right? The question is, do you have the will to be who you're supposed to be? Develop the skills that are for you. Make sure that you will do what you were called to do. This is the day that the dawn is made, and not we shall at that point, right? Or I'm sorry, it says, I'm sorry, what is it? Yeah, this is the day, excuse me. I'm going to the wrong scripture. This is the day that Adon has made. I will, as a result of my will, I will rejoice. I will. Blessing, I'm sorry. I don't know if I read the whole thing from you. You said this is perfect weekend big session. Okay, that's somebody else. You said, but blessing will not be bestowed onto your will if not be done in Tab's way, or I guess you're saying in Yah's way, or you're probably using another term, because I don't worship God, I worship Elohim. There's a different deity, but I get what you mean. But once again, fine. So free will, you have free will. So do you will to do the will of the Father? Once again, like, it's not taken away from what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing. Let's not be so quick to try and separate ourselves that we can't become connected in one thing. Because isn't that part of His will that we be one in His will together? That we be one family, one connective unit, one thought process, one community. Therefore, if that's what it is, then we should, from our free will, make sure we're in accordance to His will. And He says, press on. That's will. Will you press on? When they say all manner of evil against you and revile you for His name's sake, will you rejoice? Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 through 12. Right? I will. I will it. I'm committed to it. I'm committed to excellence. I'm not just committed to coming on and speaking to you. I'm committed to excellence. As excellent as I can be. And look, I'm committed to being myself. I used to be the person on the former YouTube channel that we had started before it got taken down. If you go back and look at the earlier videos, they're all videos trying to do it the way everybody else is doing, right? Then I finally said, you know what? A lot of people respond better to who I am. Let me just go ahead and talk to people. And as I started talking to people, all of a sudden, we were able to start helping people around the world like that. Started in places I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting one of the first countries outside the U.S. that was going to need us to do something for them was going to be Pakistan. I was thinking that if anybody, maybe it'd be Israel, maybe it'd be North Africa, maybe it'd be West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, right? The first place that we started going to is was Ghana and stuff like that. But the first place we helped was Pakistan. Why? Because we had a will. I had a will, and I said, yeah, however you want, I will do whatever you tell me. And Pakistan was first up on the list as a result of the will. We helped out there. We've helped out in India too, right next door, right? With really the same country if you know the history, but Pakistan and India. We helped out in Ghana, helped out in Kenya, helped out in Liberia, helped out in Haiti, helped out in Costa Rica, right? Trying to figure out some stuff for Ecuador at some point, right? That's been something on my heart. I don't even know why. I've just been hearing and seeing that for like 2 years now and been preparing myself, right? Even been making sure I've been brushing up on Espanol just in case it's necessary to speak some kind of broken Spanish, right? If necessary. That's because of will, right? That's the Father's will. I had to be willing to be in tune or in lock or in frequency or whatever you want to call it, right? To be obedient to the will of the one who has sent me. That's what Yashai said, right? I'm obedient to the one who sent me. My will is to do the will of the one who sent me. My will is to do the will of the Father. He even said, when they said, man, are you hungry? He said, man, my meat, what I eat, is to do the will of the Father. Will. Are you willing to be in tune with what's for you? I'm not saying don't develop skill. I'm saying that the skill is something that you can develop all day, but if you don't have the will to do what's necessary with it, you're not going to do anything. That's why a lot of people are hearers, right? They got the skill to listen to something, and they know even how to use it. They hear it, but they're not. But they don't do anything. Don't be hearers only. Do something. Be willing to do something. You said will versus perception. I don't know what you're talking about. I guess you talk about. That's not what I'm saying, but I guess you're talking about be willing to go past how people perceive you. Sure. Right, if you're willing to be obedient. So these are the things, like a lot of us are trying to get to different places, but we're not committed. Once again, if you want excellence, if you want the dream or the vision to be established, commitment is the currency. Commitment is the currency. Have you ever thought about it? When you even go, right, to that fourth floor, some people call it the insane asylum, but if you go to that infirmary, right, and they put you in there, you know what they say? Once they put you in there, they say you are committed. Have you ever thought about why, when you go there, they say you are committed? What are you committed to? What is the payment that you're committed to? I'm trying to get better. Right? I'm trying to get better. Yeah, I had to be on the fourth floor too. That's why I know about that fourth floor experience, right? And I was coming there to get better. Had some stuff dealing with PTSD and had some stuff dealing, I was in the military, had some stuff dealing with personal issues going on in my life, had some issues that I still hadn't taken care of since my mother had passed. And stuff hit me hard at the same time. Had people trying to take all stuff about my reputation and trying to take me down and becoming this pariah all of a sudden in the very place that I used to be somebody that was thought to be this great person and didn't know how to deal with a lot of stuff, but I committed myself. You see? And I have no problem talking about it. Some people embarrassed to talk about when situations like that, or even to think about maybe I should go through that process. Look, I'm not saying do all that stuff because you got to be strong. You got to understand you're dealing with psychology. Psychology literally is the definition of psychology is the study of the soul, right? So be careful with it. However, if your soul is out of line, if your thought process is out of line, if the things that where you're seated, your passion in things are out of line, then guess what? Like you need to be committed. That's the payment. See, to be infirmed is not literally just talking about your physical well-being. To have to go to an infirmary, it's literally talking about mental health. That's why Romans chapter 15, verse 1 says that we who are strong should take on the infirmities of those who are weak. It's not talking about the physical problems. It's talking about there's some people who are getting into this walk, this faith walk, this hope walk, this constitutional walk, this sovereignty walk, etc., who are very young and don't have the will that you might have, and so you need to take them on, put them on your shoulders, and let's go. You need to be more committed, right? This one is being recorded. Yes, we put these things on YouTube. We put this on our podcast. The podcast is the Kofi Afodi Podcast, like my name that's up in the corner. The without the underscore and the number 2, of course, the Kofi Afodi Podcast. So yes, you can go look for those things, right? And even if you want, be committed. And this is something I don't want to come across as somebody who's saying, oh, I'm better than anybody else or I'm greater than anybody else. But I just want you guys to see something. A lot of you even come on here and call me up and text me and have conversation with me and send me emails and all this stuff and send me DMs talking about, man, thank you, you're filling in holes and doing this and that, et cetera, the third. And that's all great. That's all love. I appreciate it. And that motivates, me as well and gets me to a place of motivation that I didn't think I could get to as well. So you guys help me and bless me with that. And I appreciate those things, right? But why? Even in doing that, if you say that you're getting these great teachings and getting this great stuff, the question is what are you going to do with it? Right? Like if you're saying, okay, I got the teaching now, like somebody's helping me with this, somebody's willing to walk with me with this. All right, like, and it doesn't have to be me. It could be somebody else you find. At the end of the day, whoever you find and that you're saying, okay, this person's like a guru type person, this, that, whatever. Okay, cool. Now that you found them, like, what are you doing with what they gave you? Right? Like, what are you committed to do to getting rid of the sickness of depression? Let's be real. Some of us right now, sickness of depression, can't wake up on time, can't really work the way you're supposed to work, don't really feel comfortable being out in front of everybody. The sickness of disease, the sickness of disease, not eating correctly, having problems getting out of bed, Ankles haven't felt right for the last 3-4 years. Feel like you got drop foot even though you don't have drop foot, right? Spine hurts. Stuff just hurts just for the sake of hurting. They tell you it's because you're getting old. You don't know what nutrients to take, right? The sickness of um of not believing in yourself, right? Need to go ahead and make sure, have been told your whole life you're nothing, right? The sickness of some of you suicidal thoughts, right? Like when you get this stuff, what are you committed to doing? Right? Even with the teaching, let me be and let me just keep it 100. I'm not, once again, I'm saying that I think this is something that you need to take, whether it's me or somebody else. You need to take stuff to the next level. Like, the commitment level of people is always staggering. Give me everything that I can get that's easy, but don't require anything more of me. I can't tell you how many times people say that they're so thankful and grateful and stuff, and so I'm like, okay, we got this. Here's the next step. We do this, but it's going to require more of your time because you're going to have to learn on another level. Right? This one might require a donation because we do some stuff around the world, and so we use these donations, so we got to have donation stuff that comes from somewhere. Oh, well, no, I'm cool. I'm just going to do the live stuff only. But then they come on the lives and they keep breaking down. Can you answer this question? Can you answer this question? Can you answer this question? No commitment level, right? Why are you only committed to getting stuff that's easy? As long as the answer's yours, you'll stop a whole live. Like, people come on here, they want to challenge every single word that you say, right? And then I say, well, you can just text me at the same information. You can just call me. You could DM me, and we could have this conversation. And they won't call me. They're not committed even to growing. Or if they say that they're right, they're not even committed to making sure that they help me out. They're just coming on here to mess with us, or they're coming on here as long as it's a very selfish thing, right? If you are not, my wife said this last night when we were talking about stuff, that it's a very selfish place to be. We were talking about finding yourself, but to not find yourself is a very selfish place to be, because there are people around the world that are waiting for you, right? And so people think that they're getting great. And look, anything that the Most High gives us is great teaching. So let me be very clear with that. So I'm thankful and grateful that the Most High would allow us to be on here live once, twice a day, go on to other things, have other things, the convocation, holy days, be able to call and talk to you guys, all these things, right? But if you want some of the stuff that we're talking about as far as sovereignty and stuff like that, we have a class. The class is only $90 for 2 months. In 2 months, you're going to spend $90 on a whole bunch of frivolous things. Where's your commitment level at? I'm not saying if you feel like you want to go and spend thousands of dollars with somebody else to get the same thing, or you feel like you'll be able to study on your own and teach yourself these things and just Google certain things that I'm talking about from here to there. Hey, do what you do. What I'm saying is, where's your commitment level, though? Like, this stuff that we do, and it's daily, this is surface level. This is surface level. I don't have the time in an hour to discuss a whole bunch of stuff. So we're giving you a bunch of icing on cake, and a lot of people are trying to live off of icing. Where's your commitment? The things that have you infirmed, that have you sick, the things that are your infirmities, those things are like the eggs. Those things are the flour, right? Those things are the things that have to be mixed together and baked for a while. And a lot of people don't have any commitment past just, let me get something surface level real quick. Remember, you guys remember Elijah? He's getting ready to go, and Elisha, right? Or Elijah, but we'll just say it the way that we say it, right? You remember Elijah is getting ready to leave, and Elisha is all up on him, right? And he knows that he's getting ready to leave, and he says, before you go, man, he's like, give me a double portion of your spirit. Elijah keeps saying, man, I can't promise you that. Right? There's a commitment level. Elisha keeps on walking with them. He says, man, give me a double portion of your spirit. He's like, man, that's not for me to give. Right? But his will said, I'm going to keep following you. He kept on doing. Finally, Elijah leaves and goes up into the heavens. And Elisha picks up what Elijah had and takes it and uses it and strikes and is able to cause miracles and things to happen, right? Because he was what? He was following. Elisha was committed. Elisha was so committed. This is something that really blessed me when I first started studying about Elisha. A lot of people get excited about the double portion piece. The first thing that really excited me about Elisha was when Elijah put his mantle on him, and was his commitment level. Right? That was the first thing. That was the first thing that really blessed me, was Elisha's commitment level. You know why I knew that Elisha had a great commitment level? Because Elijah put the mantle on him, right? Elijah put the mantle on him, and when he put the mantle on Elisha, first thing he did was he recognized the commitment that was there. He was like, "Oh my goodness, this means I got to leave everybody behind. I can't do what I thought up until this moment. I thought I was going to be farming and, taking my family's business to the next level and do this." So he says, so he goes to Elijah. He didn't even question the commitment. He didn't question the call. The mantle was put on him. He said, "All right, I know what I'm called to do." The man of Yah came by, said, "This is what you're supposed to do. All right, I'm with you. I'm cool. However, is it all right, Elijah, if I go back and I make sure right before I am committed to you and committed to the Most High and committed to having a double portion of what you have and giving my life to you the same way I gave to my parents even, hey, is it all right if I make sure that I square things with my parents real quick and then come follow you?" He asked permission. He said, "Look, I was ready to do this for my family. The Most High said that my family is going to be blessed more by me doing what I'm doing for you than what I was going to do for them, because I'm about to be over all Israel. I'm about to be the priest of Israel. So you're training me to do something that's going to bless the community. Therefore, it would bless my parents anyways. But before, there's going to be a little hole here because I was committed here. Before I leave, can I go ahead and make sure I put things together?" He showed his commitment level from the jump. He was already obedient. Before we even knew Elisha was obedient, he was already obedient. He was so obedient that the first thing that we hear out of his mouth is obedience. Hey, I'm obedient to my parents. Can I make sure that the things are straight with them? Right? Like, those are the things that we have to comprehend. You said, what books have such sources of knowledge that isn't surface level? That's not even in. If you're trying to challenge the question, make sure that you challenge it correctly, apologetically, right? That's not even what I said. I didn't say that there's no book that doesn't have surface level. What I said is that people's commitment level is surface level, and things that we're learning, people think that they're learning things that are only, but I think they're learning things that are very in depth, and they stay there for years and years and years, right? They stay there for long periods of time. Maybe you didn't hear that part either because who knows how long you've been listening, right? But just stay with this, function with this. I promise you I actually know how words usage works, and I promise you I know how things, go together. I can make mistakes, but that's not a mistake right there. That's something that was done purposefully. But thank you for the correction. We appreciate you. And if that's your way of saying hello to you. So you got to understand, like, Elisha obedience level was, before I even leave with you, I got to go to Elijah. That's the obedience level. Right? The commitment is the first thing that I noticed. It really is the first thing that we're taught about Elisha. It was his commitment level that helped him. Right? It was the commitment level that helped him to grow. Commitment is the currency, is the topic, right? And the topic is still the same. Commitment is the currency. If you want to get to the dream or the vision, what are you committed to? Right? People say, my dream is to do everything in excellence. That's not a dream or a vision. That's a commitment level. What are you going to be excellent in? Right? Matter of fact, what do you do in excellence now? Like right now. Right now. What is it that you do that is excellent? Right now. Right now. What do you do that's excellent? See what I'm saying? What is it that you do in excellence? Right? What do you do right now? What are you committed to? You do everything in excellence? Okay, well then that means that you don't really have something that you call to do more than anything else. I mean, I get what you're saying. Everything I do is in excellence. I'm talking about like this second, okay, fine. I don't know. Let's say it like this. What do you do that's second to none? What do you do that's second to none? Right? What do you do that you might, because there's some things, even if you do everything in excellence, we have flaws in, right? So what are the things that you do that are second to none? What do you do that nobody else could do? And see, don't be so, like, that's why your dream or vision, it has to come with what? It has to come with specifics, right? I'm being very specific. I'm not talking about just speaking. Somebody says, oh, well, you speak, so-and-so speaks. How can you say that you do something somebody else does? No, nobody speaks like me. I've developed me. And when I develop me, I develop my specific way of speaking. I develop my specific way that I'm created as far as my brain patterns and things, as far as that, because I don't want to go and create it to think, because people will try to change and manipulate my words. So, but I have a specific way that I think. I have a specific way that I look at things. I have a specific way that I love things. I have a specific way that I talk. I have a specific way that I walk. I have a specific way that I love. I have a specific way that I hold my wife's hand. I have a specific way that I hold doors. I have a specific way that I speak. I have a specific language I use to her when she wakes up and goes to sleep. I'm very specific in my commitment. Right? I'm very specific in my commitment. I'm committed to things that nobody else on this planet is committed to. Now, somebody says, oh, so nobody else committed to happiness? No, I didn't say that. But your way of getting happiness is different than mine. Right? Like, understand, it's going to narrow. Watch this. Being more specific is just going to narrow things down. Right? That's what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to accomplish. You know? If we're doing certain things, the reason why when you do a scientific experiment and you do an experiment, you have these things called control. What are the controls there for? The controls are there to make sure that we specifically narrow certain things down, that we make a smaller amount of things that could actually be part of our conclusion. Even though a lot of people work backwards, they actually work with conclusions and then go through, the experiments and then go through like all the different controls, and they try to work backwards to the hypothesis. But technically, we work with, if this happens, then this will happen. We look at doing the experiment. We look at, what controls must be there, all those different things. Then we do the experiment. Then we say, this is our conclusion. We're trying to be specific and narrow what it is that we can become. People are trying to become everything. I can do all things through Christ, through him. So what did he call you to be? If you can do all things through him, what did he say? Right? Narrow it down. Right? Narrow it down. You got to have a meeting with yourself. Yeah, that's great. But narrow it down. Start narrowing it down. Right? And when somebody says to me, it's concerning. I'm not going to say that I'm mad at this and that, but I'm just being honest. It's concerning when you say to somebody, hey, what is it that you called to do? And they say, man, I do everything. Yeah, y'all just wants me to do everything. Well, then you're not a puzzle piece. We're puzzle pieces in the same puzzle. All of us work together for greatness. So if you do everything, then it means that there's something that you probably, the thing you're supposed to focus on is the thing that you're not focusing on. Because you won't focus on it now, we're missing that. Or somebody else is going to have to come along and fill that void. Right? Narrow it down. So for example, like I'm saying, okay, so a lot of people will be like, oh, okay, I can speak too. All right, that's great. So who do you speak to? Oftentimes when people tell me they're called to preach, a lot of people get frustrated with me because the very next question I'll say, instead of being like, oh, that's great, that's amazing, blah, blah, I'm excited for it, but then I'll ask a question. I'll say, so who are you called to preach to? What are you called to preach about? Well, I'm called to preach about the Bible. Okay, Moses preached, let my people go, and then preached, we got to make it into Canaan, and preached, hey, follow the law, and preach that very well for 40 years, right? Like, who are you called to preach? And Moses had to preach to people that he wasn't even going to live with in Canaan, and he had to preach to people who were 20 years and younger, because and then preach to them till they were about 60 years old. Everybody who went into there, except for 2 families, everybody that went in there was going to be 60 years old or younger, which meant that all the people that left out of Kemet, he was actually preaching not to them, but he was preaching to their children. He was setting up the generations to come after. He was very narrow in what his calling was. He was very specific. He understood, this is what I'm coming to do. We talked about Luke chapter 4. Y'all remember we just went over Luke chapter 4 just soon, and they said Yashua showed up, and he read a passage of scripture that was from Isaiah, and he said, now this is fulfilled in your hearing. He said that I came, what is it, Luke chapter 4 verse 17 through 19 is where we focused, and he talked about, man, I'm coming to break to let the captives be free. Right? I'm coming to make sure that people that once could see and lost their sight now can have their sight restored. I've come to make sure that I'm going to heal people. Right? He gave very specific things. This is what I came to do. I'm specific. I came to give you the kingdom of heaven. You lost the kingdom of heaven, Matthew chapter 5, verse 3, it now belongs to you. Those of you that are poor in spirit, you don't even get it. You're not even committed to the kingdom because you don't even know what kind of kingdom is. I came to restore a kingdom and allow you to be committed to something greater than yourself. Right now, I'm specifically telling you what my narrow objective is. He preached the kingdom. He gave the kingdom, and that out of the kingdom, that's where the miracles came from. The miracles were a sign that the kingdom showed up. Remember, we talked about that too. Right? The miracles were a sign that the kingdom showed up. He narrowed it down. A lot of us are trying to do that. We you know that saying, master of and thank you for the love. What was it? Or no, jack of all trades, master of none, right? That's but that's a joke. The original saying, I don't know if it was Benjamin Franklin or not who said it originally, but whoever said it originally, the original saying says, jack of all trades, master of one. A lot of people say jack of all trades, master of none. So they're not narrow on anything. They're not narrowing down and not being specific when it comes to their commitment level. You're committed to everything, like we talked about at the beginning. You're spread out all over the place. You don't know what to do, what you shouldn't do, what time you should commit to this, that, etc. Right? However, be specific. I'm a jack of all trades. Look, I'm a jack of all trades. We can discuss all these different things if you want, right? Then you say, well, what are you a master of? Oh, okay. I'm a teacher. I'm a helith or a pastor doesn't mean what you think it is. A pastor or helith means an assembler. So I'm great at assembling people together and making sure that we have platforms in different places that we can be able to meet and bring our leadership together so that we can all lead as one over a community that's greater than ourselves under the leader of leaders, under the lab of Lamed, right? Like this is what we're talking about. Make it specific. Make it specific. What do you do? And keep drawing it to like specifically. Nobody does this like me. Nobody speaks like me. Nobody thinks about this like me. Whenever I see something, somebody will say, man, how did you think of that? And all honesty, because I've developed, now that's where the skill comes in. Remember we talked about will versus skill. I have a will to develop myself. And now the skills start coming with the development of myself. I know what skills that I should study because I know who I am. I know what things to focus on. So some people be like, well, what do you think about this? And what do you think about Republican and Democrat and what Joe Biden is saying and what Trump is saying? And Trump's going to run again. And, they just did this and they're trying to get this law. And they gave the Asian community to stop Asian hate bill and blah, blah. And it's like, look, I know about those things, but I'm not really I'm not going to be skilled in breaking those stuff down. I'm going to be more skilled in making sure that you're sovereign because sovereignty goes with the kingdom of heaven. And that's what I teach. So if I'm going to teach something that helps you to become greater, then I'll teach about the sovereignty piece where you don't have to worry about what is a Republican, a Democrat, a communist, a Green Party, a Libertarian, not an individual, excuse me, whatever. You're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat, you're in between, you don't have a party affiliation, whatever. Forgive me right now, my mind's racing. I'm trying to slow down. That's what happens. See, I got so much stuff going on. I can't be narrow specific looking for words today. I'm so excited. But these are the independent. That's the word I'm looking for. But these are the things, right? Right now, what are you being specific about? In this moment, even, are you specifically here, or are you trying to do 7,000 different things at the same time? This is just a little piece of what you're doing. You'll catch some things, but are you specific enough to catch what's for you? Right? You'll catch some things, but are you specific enough to catch what is for you? When you write notes, do you write notes and just say, I'm going to write every single thing down, which is great? Or do you say, hey, I'm looking for something specific out of this? We talked about this last night. If you expect something, you can accept some. If you can expect some things, you can accept some things. And there's some things that you've been accepting from people that have nothing to do with who you are. Right? You've been accepting some things from people that have nothing to do with who you are because you've been committed to what other people think of you. Right? And that commitment is currency. If you're going to go to people who have nothing, who do not have your intentions, your best intentions at heart, then you will be committed to people and pay to make sure that you continue to be in debt, a slave, debt slave, right? And by the way, if you're going to be a slave to something, at least be a slave to something that's going to cause you to be powerful. That's going to cause you to be sovereign. That's going to cause you to live in truth. That's going to cause you to be above and never beneath. Cause you to never be the lender and always the borrower, right? Y'all remember that scripture we talked about? And not Proverbs 18:21, not Proverbs 13:22, not Proverbs 18:21 and 22. Is it Proverbs 16 or something? I can't remember where it is, but where it says, that train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they get old, they will not depart from it. Everybody always quotes that scripture, but then they don't tell you the verse that comes behind it, where it literally says right behind that verse, it says, "Hey, if that the rich will always be over the poor, And so the rich are always over the poor. Make sure that you teach your children that so they won't be rich. I mean, so they won't be poor, but that they will be wealthy. In other words, if you put those two verses together, it's saying make sure you discipline your child now so that they're not somebody's debt slave later on. Because if they're a debt slave, they will always be underneath the power of those who have the ability to put them in debt. In other words, they'll always be the lender. I think, matter of fact, I think the last part of the verse I'm talking about, the second verse, says that the lender will always be a servant to the or the borrower will always be a servant to the lender. So that's why you should train up a child in the way they should go now. Be specific with them. Be narrow-minded. I will not allow you to be in debt. I will not allow you to have to pay taxes. I will not allow you to pay off debt. You will sign off debt, right? You see what I'm saying? I will not let you pay debt off, right? You can discharge your debt. I will teach you these things now. Proverbs 22:7. Thank you. Yeah. So I will teach you these things. It's Proverbs 22:6 and 7, I believe, is what I'm looking for, right? So I will teach you these things now, right? So that I'm specific, so that I will help you in your life. Train up a child narrowly in the way that they should go. So when they get there, be committed, right? Pay off debt for your child in their mind so that they don't have to pay off debt in their life. You got to pay what you owe. So that is all that I have. Somebody had asked about the podcast. The podcast is the Kofi of 40 podcast. Right, my name up top. And once again, we give all honor to the Most High for everybody, including my wife, the Honorable Maya. I'm thankful and grateful for everybody, and specifically for her, all that she does for me and my life, and helping me to reach higher levels in her commitment level. And I'm thankful and grateful for what she's doing in the community. She is on as Bloom and Flourish, by the way. You can find her on TikTok, YouTube, and her website, Bloom and Flourish, BLOOM, the letter N, FLOURISH, Bloom and Flourish. So we're thankful and grateful to everybody and for everybody for being on with us. Thank you for taking time out with us. We're looking at doing some new and great and amazing and wonderful and powerful things. And we want you to do the same. We want you to continue. This is our year of pursuit, where we're pursuing the promises of the Most High. Please make sure you keep pursuing those promises, and that you hashtag finish strong. If you want to put that on a video here or there to just remind people of what we're doing. If somebody asks you about the hashtag or whatever, what is it connected to, feel free to let them know a little something too. But we're thankful and grateful that we're hashtag finishing strong. I'm putting the information to be able to contact us above my head real quick. Thank you, everybody who was on with us yesterday evening. My wife knocked it out the park, and we're thankful and grateful for you guys joining us. October 1st is fast approaching. October 1st is when we ask everybody to go into your community and be a blessing to somebody. Whether it's somebody on the street, whether it's somebody that is in your family, whether it's somebody at the job, in your work, whatever the case might be, feel free to be a blessing to them, because we should always bless others. Make sure that you're sowing seeds of blessing as much as you can. So once a month, we try to do that as a community all over the world. Please be a blessing to somebody on Friday. Also on Friday, those who are interested in Yah's Land Project 83, where we're looking at having many families come out, 30 families minimum, but we're looking at 30 families who can be committed to $83 and some change a month. So that come October next year, we'll be able to purchase our own land. If you'd like to be a part of that, let us know. We'd be grateful and honored and thankful for you doing so with us. October 11th, the week of October 11th, that's when we're going to start our next semester. Marriage class will be on Mondays. Monarchy will be on Tuesdays. Sovereignty will be on Wednesdays. Natural Medicine 1 on Thursdays. SIST on Fridays. Hebrew Characters on Saturdays. And the week of October 18th, every Monday at 6:45 a.m. Eastern and New York time. I'll be on 6:30 a.m. if you want to just join and say hello and kind of, have a little fellowship beforehand. But every Monday at 6:30 a.m. I'm sorry, 6:45 a.m. to 7:45. 6:45 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. Eastern New York time. We'll make sure that we're on for Bible study. And the Bible study, and that'll just be Mondays only. So that Monday in those classes, Mondays through Sundays that we just or Mondays through Saturdays we just discussed, those will both be on Zoom only. Also on Zoom only, October 30th, that'll be our Brothers in Black event, where we're inviting brothers and sisters alike, but specifically, the brothers who come on, please make sure you're dressed in black for our fellowship, for our unities, to show our unity. We're looking at having 3 great speakers come together and give you some information and speak to us as brothers. And ladies, when you come on, if you invite your husbands, if you're invited by your husbands, if you're just coming on because you want to hear how men talk and some things that you should be dedicated to for your men, feel free to come on. You don't have to wear black, but we ask that you just come on and listen. If you do have some questions, please let the brothers first have the ability to ask the questions first, and respect, that it is something that's focused for them. But we'd love to have you join us as well. That'll be October 30th on Zoom as well, and that'll be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern in New York time. And then, of course, our last, I forget when the last Sunday is, I guess of October 30th. So October 31st, actually, wow. October 31st, actually, we'll have a special service as we do every last Sunday. Not sure what the topic would be. Be interesting if we're led to do Halloween on Halloween and talk about how crazy some of this stuff is. Nevertheless, October 31st will be our special session. Don't forget November, the month of November, we're going to start trying to get with people who are, especially those who are married. And when we say married, we mean people, if you having sex, you're married. If you're married, you're having sex. Like, that's what marriage is. Marriage is sex, sex is marriage in our culture. So if you'd like to start working out your marriage contracts that we were talking about, we'll do that in the month of November. And then in December, of course, the Women in Red event is coming up. We're going to have several speakers and do what we did last year, or really the beginning of this year, actually. So if you want to join us, we had a great turnout. I think last year, even though we had a lot of sisters from other countries join us, I think we had 80-something sisters concurrent at one point on Zoom, which is amazing. And we're looking at having a lot of the same speakers back from what I hear, but my wife's running that. If you'd like to help out with anything with the Women in Red or the Brothers in Black, by the way, just let us know. If you'd like to help out with anything we're doing, just let us know. You can text us at the number above my head, 202-599-7312. Also, too, you can contact my wife, the Honorable Maya, about stuff having to do with healing, her herbalism business, if you want to help her with feeding and clothing people in the community. All that stuff, you can go to changinglivesinitiative.org, but you can also text her at 202... excuse me. You can text her at 410-469-1553. That's once again 410-469-1553. Again, I say 410-469-1553. Last time, that's 410-469-1553. So we appreciate the King and Queen in each and every one of you. Even if you're not living inside that kingdom of queendom yet, we appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us, to partake, to listen in. We're grateful, we're thankful, and we look forward to having more opportunities like this very much so in the future. Remember, we're on every rising, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time. We're on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern or New York time, and we're excited. So once again, you can text us at the number that's above. You can go to kofi-ofori.com, kofi-ofori.com, to find out more information about what we're doing and what we're saying, or even to find out more information on how to contact us. You can look for us on all platforms, including the name of our YouTube channel, even as hashtag #FindKofi, hashtag FINDKOFI, which we're building up from scratch pretty much since they tore down the last one. And we're thankful and grateful for you guys being with us. Also, remember, you got the podcast. You can check out things on the Kofi Ofori podcast. That's the Kofi with no dash or anything, just the Kofi Ofori podcast. You can go and look there to find out stuff that we've been doing now that's on there. Gotta say, for at least over a year now, we've been putting content up on there as well. So you can find out recordings. You can catch up with the Lineage series, which at some point we're going to have to get right back into. We just kind of had to stop it because of everything that happened with YouTube and trying to figure out how to do that. But all the stuff we've been talking about, the parts of the Genesis series, parts of the Revelation series, you can go on the podcast, find out what's been going on with that. And of course, if you want to give any donations to stuff that we're doing, we have more than just the Cash App as well. You can do it through PayPal, Green Dot, Apple Pay, Zelle, etc. So any way that you feel comfortable with, we'll have those things. But please take time out to go to the website, find out more about what we're doing, and be able to support your community coming together, because that's really the goal. That we keep the main thing, and the main thing is we want the diaspora to be what it should have always been from the beginning, before sin or shortcomings of man came into play. That being said, I thank you again, and our prayer is that you not just be hearers of what you got today, but you also be doers. Study it to show yourself approved. Bring it to Yah, that you can make sure from that point on you can work it and not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. And we look forward to growing together. So once again, this is Pastor Kofi, aka the Shadow Band One, Pastor of Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken, until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, we shall be the reason this world changes for the better, bare minimum. We'll be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom. Peace. Thank you, Chill Pill.